Welcome, my name is Dr. Cazás-Moreno, and today we'll be discussing mastering your CSCS study strategy using objectives and keywords. Whether you're early in your prep or reviewing for your test, this approach will give you clarity, structure, and retention power. All right, as a reminder, before we jump in, I am a mom of two, so if you hear them in the background, that is why. What are objectives and keywords? Objectives are like the job description for each topic. They outline the level of competency expected. Think of them as outcome-based markers, guiding what you should be able to do or understand after studying. Keywords are the vocabulary of the field, the linguistic building blocks that support those objectives. So if objectives are your map, then keywords are the landmarks that help you navigate the content and recall key concepts. Both are provided in the NSCA material for a reason. They're structured intentionally to support comprehension, retention, and performance. So using them together ensures that your study approach is strategic and aligned with exam expectations. Keywords are study gold, and they're highly underutilized. Flashcards associated with our keywords is also just the beginning. So using flashcards and our keywords can help with recall, but also pairing terms with real scenarios such as the objectives helps solidify that understanding. So grouping terms also helps you spot patterns and connecting themes across domains, for instance, between nutrition and periodization or the administration. So cognitive psychology tells us that grouping and mapping information enhances both retrieval abilities and retention, taking your studying from the surface level and memorization to understanding the application of those concepts. This is an example of mind mapping using objectives and your keywords. For this example, we're using the CSCS. So our overarching theme is the CSCS exam. If we break the exam down into two parts, we have the applied practical along with the scientific foundation. Now, when you're using mind maps, you want to break them down into categories and then subcategories. So you can do this with any content. But sticking with the CSCS, let's look at the scientific foundation. We're looking at bioenergetics. This is energy systems, metabolic processes, ATP. So then we can break down, well, what are the three energy systems? Tell me about each of them. How are the processes? How do they work? Break them down so you can understand them and understand the concepts. So you can do this for every domain to help you guide your studying process. The tools listed here have been demonstrated to yield long-term results. For instance, using spaced repetition allows you to schedule specific review times of flashcards or other learning content to optimize long-term retention, while collaborative review reveals cognitive blind spots. So using these tools to transform passive reading into deliberate practice and ensure that every minute of your study time contributes to performance readiness. As we mentioned, we wanted to make sure every minute of your study time contributes to performance readiness. So we need to have a game plan based on your exam date. Create a schedule for every week. What chapters will you read? This would imply reviewing the keywords and objectives for those chapters. As you progress each week, don't forget about previous chapters. So schedule to recall through summarization, flashcards, testing, using the retention software. This process is necessary to set an intention. Actively engage, summarize, and apply the concepts, and assess your knowledge through confidence levels. You can label these confidence levels from 1 to 5. If you're really confident in a topic, you can label that a 5. That way, when you assess your knowledge, you then know what you may need to work on or not. Retention through active recall depends on repeated, meaningful engagement with the material. So rewriting your objectives, practice questions, activates higher order thinking. So it's a great method to enhance memory, consolidation, and test day confidence. So we know creating a schedule is necessary. Here is an example of a 6-week study timeline focusing on objective-based methods. Now, this is a very fast pace, and I do recommend giving yourself 8 to 12 weeks to study for the CSCS. However, it is possible to successfully pass this exam in under 8 weeks. Nevertheless, a schedule will keep you on task. So what should be included in your schedule? Some ideas would be the focus domain, the chapters, how you will study those chapters, what time can you commit to each week. It will also allow you to see if you are on track, ahead of schedule, or falling behind. So tracking your progress is more than just an organizational hack. It's a critical thinking strategy. So each week should cover and include a focus domain, chapters covered, and your study and retention approach. For instance, flashcards, objectives, apps like Brainscape, practice exams, teaching yourself in front of a mirror, or teaching peers or family members. I also recommend breaking down the topics covered in a separate file for notes and questions, and then at the end, evaluate your confidence level in that concept. Now, rating your confidence may seem different, but by rating it, you're engaging in self-assessment, which research shows improved learning outcomes. So note those misconceptions, because these are gold mines for deeper learning and understanding. Then schedule your next exposure to the content before getting sets in. As educators, coaches, students, we know that knowledge without application is incomplete. So focus on the concepts, go beyond memorization, aim for that integrative understanding. The exam focuses on being able to apply concepts across all those domains. We want to connect keywords to link between those domains. For instance, needs analysis. How do we connect biomechanics and program design together? What are the needs of the sport, the athlete, common injuries? How are we going to focus on the biomechanics, but also apply that within our program design? The official NSCA content outlines us to stay calibrated. And remember, progress is cumulative. So track your wins and build from them. You've trained for this. Now it's time to execute with purpose and precision. NSCA's official exam content is available to you, but there's also many resources out there that have been used and 100% successful. I've added a list of resources for you in the description below, and utilize the one that fits best to your specific learning style. My biggest tip, remain consistent. Life happens. Adjust your calendar if needed, but work to keep with your planned schedule as best as possible. You got this.